Hello everyone, welcome to week 6. Our topic is competing rights. This is video 6.1, Unpacking Competing Rights Case Studies. Defining competing rights. This week we look at competing human rights and some fairly common sense ways of approaching disputes. Some examples of competing rights would include one person's code right versus another person's code right, someone's code right versus a legal defense of the code, someone's code right versus another person's charter right. So basically, what is happening is that two parties' rights need to be considered in a situation. So what are the differences between the Human Rights Code rights and charter rights? Here is a short version of the answer to this, if you click on the URL. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms came into being in 1982 in Canada, and it holds the final say in decisions about human rights. Both human rights codes and the Charter are about rights, but the Charter is not generally the avenue of redress for issues involving discrimination by individuals. We are going to listen to an Ontario Human Rights Commission webinar on competing human rights scenarios. Here are some of the guiding principles they suggest for dealing with competing human rights claims. No rights are absolute. There is no hierarchy of rights. Rights do not allow you to discriminate. You need to look at the context. The core of the right is more protected than the periphery. Aim to respect the importance of both sets of rights. So here is the URL, the website for the webinar on competing human rights. The webinar is approximately 1 hour in length. It is closed captioned, and some of our synthesis questions this week are based on the webinar. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Let's visit the Canadian Human Rights Reporter again. Scroll down to the second article, which is Neutrality, Religion, and Atheism. Two examples or case studies are reported here. One takes place in Quebec and one in Ontario. What is your opinion of these two examples? Keep working on PBL Scenario 2. In your course outline, you have been provided with a number of websites for case studies about human rights. Hopefully, the topics you've been introduced to in this week's video will help you to begin to unpack or figure out what is happening in the case study or studies you have selected to read. Which principles of social justice need to be paid attention to? Access, equity, rights, participation. Which aspect of the person or persons' human rights have been violated? What are you learning from investigating your case study or studies? These are the synthesis questions for the tutorial in week 6. Which, in your view, is the more pressing human rights code claim? Professor Ito's claim or Maya's claim? And why do you think that? Question 2. Do you think that the Gideon Bibles should have been distributed in the schools? Why or why not? Question 3. What is your opinion of the framework proposed for reconciling competing human rights, which is 1. Recognizing the competing rights claims, 2. Seek solutions, and 3. Make a decision. We are looking forward to the dialogue.